You are settling into seat 32A on Malaysia Airlines Flight 370, a red-eye from Kuala Lumpur International Airport bound for Beijing. The 8th of March, 2014. It is just past midnight, and the cabin air smells like recycled breath and airplane coffee. 239 souls aboard this Boeing 777 families heading home. Business travelers, an elderly woman beside you clutching a photograph of her grandchildren. And you, carrying a compact pony bottle of scuba oxygen for your upcoming dive trip in Southeast Asia. Just a precaution. Recreational divers always pack backup air. The engines hum, Rolls-Royce Trent 800 smooth and powerful. The cabin lights dim. A child laughs somewhere behind you. The in-flight entertainment flickers to life, playing some movie about lost explorers. Then, at 35,000 feet, something changes. In the real timeline, the pilots made their final radio call at 1:19 a.m. Good night, Malaysian 370. Then silence. Radar contact lost. The largest search operation in aviation history would find nothing. But here, in this timeline, you hear it. A sharp crack, a violent hiss. The cabin pressure explodes outward like a lung collapsing. Yellow oxygen masks rain from the ceiling panels in a chaotic cascade. The temperature plummets. Your ears scream. Passengers fumble, confused, too slow. The air thins fast. Hypoxia takes seconds, but you have your pony bottle. You strap it on, breathe, steady. Everyone else slumps forward, unconscious. The cabin is a tomb of sleeping faces. You are utterly alone. Then you hear it. A faint groan from the aisle ahead. Someone else is still awake. The groan comes from row 15. You push forward through the cabin, each breath from your pony bottle measured and deliberate. 3 liters of compressed air at 35,000 feet, maybe 20 minutes if you are careful, maybe 30 if you are lucky. The emergency lights cast everything in sickly amber. Your diving instructor in Koh Tao once told you that panic burns oxygen faster than exertion. So you do not panic. You move. The cold hits you like a physical thing. Frost is forming on the windows. Your breath comes out in white clouds. The cabin temperature has plummeted to near freezing, which makes no sense unless the environmental controls have failed completely. In the real timeline, searchers would later theorize that MH370 flew for hours on autopilot after losing contact, turning back over the Malay Peninsula, then heading south toward the Andaman Sea. Here, you can feel that southern trajectory in your bones. The plane is flying itself. No human hand on the controls. You reach row 15. A businessman in a rumpled suit, his phone screen still glowing. You pick it up. A text message notification from Kuala Lumpur ground control, time-stamped 1:19 a.m. MH370. Contact Ho Chi Minh 120.9. Good night. In the real event, no such message was ever received. Here it sits unread, a ghost transmission. The businessman's lips are blue. His chest rises and falls in shallow, irregular gasps. Hypoxia does not kill instantly. It damages first. The brain starves slowly, cells dying in waves. You saw footage once of Helios Flight 522, where everyone aboard succumbed to gradual oxygen deprivation. The pilots passed out at the controls. The plane flew on autopilot until it ran out of fuel and crashed. 121 people, all of them breathing, technically, but already gone. You move toward the galley. A flight attendant is slumped over her service cart, her uniform epaulets catching the light. Her name tag reads Aisha. She is not breathing at all anymore. You avert your eyes, focus on the task. The galley has supplies. You rummage through storage compartments, hands shaking from cold and adrenaline. Then you find it. A portable oxygen cylinder, the kind used for medical emergencies. Maybe another hour of breathable air if you are careful. For a moment, you feel something close to hope. Your diving training prepared you for this. Gas management. Conserving supply. You know how to ration air in a crisis. You are competent. You can survive this. Then the shadows shift. You freeze. Was that movement in row 23? A passenger stirring? Or your mind fracturing in the thin air? Hypoxia causes hallucinations. You know this, but knowing it does not make the sensation less real. You stare into the darkened rows. Nothing moves. Everything moves. The emergency lights flicker. Just once. You try the intercom to the cockpit. Press the call button. Static. Nothing but white noise. In the real timeline MH370, S-transponder went dark at 1:21 a.m. All communication ceased. Air traffic control in Kuala Lumpur lost contact. Here, you are experiencing that blackout from the inside. The silence is absolute. You return to your seat. Your seatmate, the elderly woman with the photograph, has turned visibly blue. Her breathing is almost imperceptible. You could share your oxygen. Strap the mask over her face. Buy her maybe 10 more minutes of consciousness. But 10 minutes for her means 10 fewer for you. And you need to get to the cockpit. You need to understand what happened. What would you do? Save a stranger or save yourself? You make your choice. You gather tools from the galley instead. A metal service tray that could serve as a makeshift shield if you need to force the cockpit door. A fire extinguisher for leverage. The door is reinforced post-September 11th. You will need force. Then you hear it. A faint electronic ping. The ACAR system, Aircraft Communications Addressing and Reporting System. In the real event, satellite handshakes traced MH370. S-path across the southern Indian Ocean. Automatic signals sent every hour until the plane presumably crashed. Here, the ping sounds like a lifeline, like the plane is still communicating with the world below even if you cannot. But the world below cannot hear you scream. You turn toward the cockpit. The aisle stretches ahead like a tunnel. Then you hear something else, something worse. Shuffling, footsteps, irregular, coming from the rear lavatory, coming closer. Someone else is awake. The shuffling stops when you turn to face it. Row 42. A man in a business suit, his tie loosened, his body twitching like a marionette with cut strings. His eyes are open, but they are not seeing you. Not really. He smiles. A wide, vacant smile that makes your stomach clench. Euphoric hypoxia. You have read about this. When the brain starves for oxygen, it does not always recognize the danger. Sometimes it floods the body with chemicals that mimic bliss. Sometimes people laugh as they die. He reaches toward you, fingers trembling. His lips move but no sound comes out at first. Then, barely a whisper. Stars below. You back away slowly. Your pony bottle hisses with each measured breath. The emergency lights make his shadow dance on the cabin wall. He takes a step forward, then another. His movements are uncoordinated, jerky, like he is moving through water. You realize he is not attacking. He is simply trying to walk. His brain has forgotten how. On the floor near his seat, you see a passport. Malaysian. You pick it up. Flipping through the pages, you find Iranian entry stamps. Multiple trips. In the real timeline, 2 passengers on MH370 boarded with stolen passports, sparking international speculation about terrorism and hijacking. Here, the passport lies abandoned, its owner now part of the silent majority. Was this person connected to the divergence, or just another casualty of coincidence? The PA system crackles, you freeze. Static, then a fragment of sound. Words maybe, or just electronic ghosts in the wiring. The announcement system trying to play a pre-recorded message that no longer matters. Descent, secure all. The static swallows the rest. In the real event, the last words from the cockpit were, "Good night, Malaysian 370. Here, even those words have been erased by malfunction. The air smells wrong. Ozone mixed with the scent of unserved meals. The galley carts still loaded with aluminum-wrapped chicken and rice, now freezing in the cabin cold. A snapshot of routine interrupted. The flight attendants never finished their service, never would. You notice something that makes your heart leap. A black duffel bag under row 41, diving gear visible through the partially open zipper. Another diver heading to Saipadan, just like you. You kneel and unzip it fully, inside a second pony bottle. Full. Maybe another 30 minutes of air. You secure it to your belt with shaking hands. For a moment you feel almost competent again, almost safe. Then the man from row 42 lunges. It is not violent, just desperate. His weight collides with yours and you both stumble into the seats. His hands grasp at your oxygen mask. "Stars," he whispers again, his breath hot and rapid against your face. Stars below the water. His pupils are dilated to black pools. Whatever he is seeing, it is not this cabin. You shove him back, harder than you intend. He falls into the aisle, still smiling that terrible smile. You check the cabin pressure gauge near the emergency exit door. The needle sits far into the red zone, critically low. Like Payne Stewart, a Learjet in 1999, which flew for hours on autopilot while everyone aboard suffocated. 6 people. The plane flew until the fuel ran out and it crashed in South Dakota. Here, MH370 has fuel for 6 more hours. Maybe 7. The man is trying to stand again. You have a choice. You could share your oxygen, strap the mask over his face, bring him back to clarity maybe, or at least mercy. But that costs you time, costs you air. Or you could lock him in the lavatory, isolate him, protect yourself from whatever pathology is twisting his mind. What would you do? Risk your survival for a stranger whose brain might already be beyond saving? You make your decision. You guide him toward the rear lavatory, his weight heavy against your shoulder. He does not resist, just keeps whispering about stars. You settle him inside and close the door. The lock clicks. You tell yourself it is the rational choice, the only choice. The cabin stretches before you, row after row of silent passengers. The manifest for MH370 listed 239 souls. Chinese engineers heading home. Malaysian families on vacation. Now just bodies cooling in their seats. The diversity of human life reduced to identical stillness. You move toward mid-cabin, toward the cockpit. Then you hear it. A new sound cutting through the silence, rhythmic, deliberate. Tap, 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 coming from above, from the overhead bins. Like someone trapped inside, knocking to be let out. The tapping becomes banging, metal on metal. You move toward the sound, your breath rasping inside the mask. The overhead bin above row 23 rattles with each impact. Someone is inside. Impossible. The bins are not large enough for a person, yet the banging continues. Methodical, desperate. You reach for the latch. The bin drops open. A woman spills out, catching herself on the seatbacks. Flight attendant uniform, Malaysia Airlines burgundy, the scarf askew, her hair matted with sweat. Her eyes are wild, searching. She sucks in the thin air like a drowning swimmer breaking the surface. You pull her toward the forward galley. It feels safer there somehow. The utilitarian space of airline routine. Metal carts still loaded with halal chicken and beef rendang. Sealed meals prepared according to Islamic dietary law for the predominantly Muslim passengers traveling to Beijing. Duty-free carts with their locked cases of cigarettes and perfume. The normalcy of it all makes the silence worse. She collapses against the galley wall. Her breathing is rapid and shallow. You watch her pupils contract slowly as consciousness returns. Partial hypoxia recovery. Her brain climbing back toward awareness. She looks at you. Through you. Then speaks in Malay. You shake your head. She switches to English, her accent thick but clear. Loud bang, she whispers. Before everything stopped, you lean closer. What kind of bang? From below, the cargo hold maybe. Then the masks dropped. Then nothing. A loud bang in the real investigation. Theories ranged from mechanical failure to explosive decompression. Here, her memory offers a clue, or a hallucination. You cannot be certain which. You notice a maintenance logbook wedged beside the coffee maker. You flip it open. Service entries from Kuala Lumpur International Airport. Recent work on the pressurization system. Routine checks marked as complete. But the date catches your eye. March 7th, one day before departure, rushed work. Corners cut to meet scheduling demands. The airline industry in 2014 operated on razor-thin margins. Delays cost millions. The cabin lights flicker. For 3 seconds, harsh fluorescent brightness floods the plane. You see them all, the passengers, slumped in positions that should not be comfortable. Necks bent at odd angles. Arms hanging loose, like dolls arranged by a child. Then darkness returns. The flight attendant grabs your arm. Her grip is strong, too strong. "The pilots," she says. "I checked on them before I hid. They were not responding, not moving, both of them." The cockpit, reinforced post-September 11th. Bulletproof doors installed on every commercial aircraft to prevent hijacking. Now a sealed tomb. If the pilots are gone, if they have been gone since the divergence, then who has been flying the plane? The autopilot, following its last programmed route. The Boeing 777 can fly itself for hours across the Gulf of Thailand, across the South China Sea. Until the fuel runs out, she fumbles in her uniform pocket, pulls out a small handheld radio. Emergency equipment. Standard issue. "I grabbed it," she says. "Before the air went bad, thought maybe..." She trails off. For a moment, you feel something like hope. Contact. The signal. Rescue. You take the radio and extend the antenna. The digital display shows a weak battery but functional circuits. You key the transmit button. Static. You try the international distress frequency. More static. Then automated beeps. The same pattern repeating, like the ACAR's data system that pings satellites for hours after MH370 vanished in the real timeline. Ghost signals from a plane that should not exist. The cold is worsening. Your fingers are numb even inside your diving gloves. You fumble with the radio controls, trying to boost the signal. The flight attendant watches you work. Her breathing is getting faster again. More desperate. "I need air," she says. "Please, your mask." You look at her, at the hunger in her eyes. The pathology of oxygen starvation does not always resolve cleanly. Sometimes the brain damage lingers. Sometimes it changes people, makes them impulsive, violent. She moves closer, her hand reaching for your pony bottle. What would you do? Share your limited oxygen with someone whose mental state is fracturing before your eyes? Trust her because she is crew, trained to handle emergencies. Or protect yourself, knowing that one of you surviving is better than both of you dying. You make your choice. You offer her the mask. 3 breaths, no more. She takes them greedily. Her pupils dilate with a rush of oxygen. When you pull the mask back, she does not resist, but her expression has changed. Less human, more desperate. The radio crackles. You both freeze. A voice comes through the static, faint but distinct. "Help me, please. I am in the cabin. Someone help me." Relief floods your chest. Another survivor, awake, able to communicate. You press the transmit button. "Where are you? What is your location?" A voice responds immediately, too immediately. "Help me. Please. I am in the cabin. Someone help me." The exact same words. The exact same inflection. The exact same pause between syllables. Not a person, a recording, or something worse, something mimicking human distress from somewhere inside this plane. The voice on the radio repeats, "Help me, please. I am in the cabin. Someone help me." The same cadence, the same breath pattern, identical. You kill the radio. The silence that follows is worse than the static. The flight attendant stares at the device like it might bite her. "That is not right," she whispers. "That is not a person." You agree, but what it is, you cannot say. A malfunction in the plane's communication system, an echo from some pre-recorded emergency protocol, or something else. Something you do not want to consider. You clip the radio to your belt and help the attendant to her feet. The galley feels too small now, too exposed. You need to see the cockpit. Need to understand what happened to the pilots. Need to know if there is any chance of regaining control of this aircraft before the fuel runs out, and you all spiral into the ocean. You step back into the main cabin. The seatback screens are on, all of them, glowing rectangles in the darkness, but they show nothing, just static. White noise rendered visual. The screens are a 2014 innovation, touchscreen interfaces that passengers could use to watch movies, play games, track the flight path. Now they display only electromagnetic chaos, like the transponder that vanished over Vietnamese airspace in the real timeline. Signal loss, the plane becoming a ghost, Then the lights cut out entirely. Auxiliary power failure, the cabin plunges into absolute darkness. You fumble for your headlamp, the small LED torch mounted on your forehead. The beam cuts through the black. You see rows of seats, passengers, their chests rise. Barely shallow breaths that could be life or could be the last reflexive movements before death. You cannot tell anymore. The line has blurred. The flight attendant grips your shoulder. Her nails dig in through your wetsuit. You move forward. 1 row, 2 rows. The aisle is narrow. Your headlamp swings left and right, illuminating faces. A businessman in row 14, a child in 15, a young woman in 16, all of them unconscious, all of them breathing, you think. In row 21, you find a notebook, lying open on the tray table. The passenger who owned it is slumped against the window, his pen still clutched in his hand. You pick up the notebook. The pages are filled with frantic sketches. Fire, flames drawn in harsh black strokes. Smoke billowing from what looks like the cargo hold. Words scrawled in the margins. Lithium, battery, smoke detector, heat. In the real investigation, one theory centered on lithium batteries in the cargo hold. Thousands of them, shipped as freight. Batteries that could overheat, ignite, fill the cabin with toxic smoke. The theory never gained traction because no wreckage was found. No evidence. But here in this timeline, someone noticed, someone saw. Someone tried to warn the crew before the air went bad. There was a man, the flight attendant says. Her voice is stronger now, more lucid. In business class, he kept asking about the cargo, nervous, sweating. I thought he was afraid of flying. She pauses. Maybe he knew. You move toward business class. The condensation on the windows is thicker now. Ice crystals forming on the inside of the glass. The temperature is dropping. The plane is flying south, away from the equator, away from the warm waters of the Gulf of Thailand, toward the Indian Ocean, toward the southern latitudes where the real MH370 is believed to have crashed. The satellite data showed a 7-hour ghost path, an autopilot journey into oblivion. Here, you are living that journey. Minute by minute, you find a maintenance toolkit near the emergency exit. Red plastic case, heavy. Inside are tools designed for emergency access. Pry bars, bolt cutters, manual hand drill. Relief floods through you. The cockpit door is reinforced. Bulletproof. Installed after September 11th on every commercial aircraft to prevent hijackers from reaching the pilots. But maintenance crews need access. There are protocols, weak points. You can get in. The relief lasts 10 seconds. A shadow moves in row 8. You swing your headlamp toward it. A man stands in the aisle, middle-aged suit jacket, tie loosened. He is awake, walking, smiling. The smile is wrong, too wide, too empty. His eyes are glassy, euphoric. The same look the flight attendant had when you first found her. Hypoxia. His brain is starving, dying, but he does not know it. He thinks he feels wonderful. He walks toward you, arms outstretched, like he wants to embrace you. "We are flying," he says. His voice is dreamy, childlike. "We are flying forever." You back away. The flight attendant stumbles. Her legs buckle. The brief clarity is gone. She is fading again. Her oxygen. Starved brain shutting back down. She collapses against the seats. Her weight pulls her toward the floor. You catch her. Barely. She is heavier than she looks. Dead weight in your arms. The engines hum, that constant background noise you have almost stopped noticing. But now you hear it differently. Not as a reassuring sound of function, as a countdown. The Boeing 777 carries enough fuel for a 12-hour flight from Kuala Lumpur to Beijing. Maybe 14 hours if the pilots throttled back for fuel efficiency. How many hours have passed since the divergence? 4, 5. The fuel is finite. When it runs out, the plane falls. Simple physics. No alternatives. The man in the suit is closer now. Still smiling. Still reaching for you. The flight attendant is unconscious in your arms. You can drag her, slow yourself down. Risk the man catching you, risk losing your chance to breach the cockpit, or you can leave her, lay her in a seat, let her brain finish dying while you move forward, alone, faster, with a better chance. What would you do? Save someone who might already be beyond saving, or save yourself? Because maybe, just maybe, if you can reach the cockpit, if you can figure out what happened, you can still turn this plane around, still call for help, still land somewhere. But only if you move. Now, you make your choice. You lay her in an empty seat. Row 12. Aisle. You tuck the oxygen mask toward her face. It will not help much, but it is something. You turn away. The toolkit is heavy in your hands. You move past the smiling man. He does not try to stop you, just watches you go. Still, smiling. The cockpit door is ahead. Reinforced steel. Kevlar lining, designed to withstand bullets and battering rams. You set the toolkit down. Kneel. Begin examining the lock mechanism. The door is sealed from the inside, but there are emergency bypass procedures. Ways for maintenance to access the flight deck if the pilots are incapacitated. You hear something. A sound from the other side of the door. Not voices, not movement. Scratching, rhythmic, insistent. Like fingernails on metal, but wrong, too regular, too deliberate. Not the frantic clawing of someone trapped. Something else, something methodical. Something that pulls you forward, even as every instinct screams to run. The crowbar slides between the door frame and the reinforced steel. You lever your weight against it. The metal groans. Post-September 11th modifications made these cockpit barriers nearly impenetrable. Bulletproof Kevlar. Titanium hinges. A locked fortress designed to prevent hijackers from reaching the flight deck. In the real MH370 investigation, this very feature became a source of suspicion. If the pilots locked the door, if they wanted privacy, no one could stop them, no one could see what they did, or did not do. The scratching stops, then starts again. Harder, frantic, like fingernails raking metal. You throw your shoulder against the crowbar. Something cracks. Not the door. The frame, the mounting bolts. You wedge the pry bar deeper, pull. The door shifts, an inch, 2 inches. Enough to see inside. The cockpit is dark except for the instrument panels. Green and orange lights. Numbers flickering. The pilots are slumped over the controls. The captain is in the left seat. His head lolls forward. White foam crusts around his mouth and nostrils. Advanced hypoxia. His body is not still. It convulses. Small jerking movements. Arms twitching. Legs spasming against the rudder pedals. Pathological fits. The kind that look intentional if you do not know better. The kind that fueled theories of pilot suicide. Deliberate crashes. Mass murder disguised as malfunction. A co-pilot is worse. His hands claw at the yoke. Scratch, scratch, scratch. That is the sound you heard. Not something impossible. Not something beyond explanation. Just a dying man, his nervous system firing random signals. His body trying to fly the plane while his brain shuts down. You shove the door wider. Squeeze through. The moment you enter the cockpit, the autopilot disengages. A warning tone. The yoke shudders. The horizon line on the attitude indicator tilts. The plane begins to dive. Not steep, not catastrophic, but steady, inexorable. The Andaman Sea is beneath you. The same waters where military radar tracked the real MH370 after it turned west, away from Beijing, away from its flight plan, into mystery. You lunge for the controls. Strap yourself into the captain's seat. His body slumps sideways. Still convulsing, still foaming, you grip the yoke. Pull back gently. Too much force and you could stall. Not enough and you will not arrest the descent. Your hands are shaking. But you know this, sort of. Flight simulator games. Hours spent in virtual cockpits during layovers. Boredom made educational. You level the nose. The altimeter stops spinning. 22,000 feet. Stable. For now, relief floods through you. You did it. You saved the plane. You are piloting a Boeing 777. You feel competent, powerful. in control. Then you see the captain's logbook, clipped to the instrument panel. The last entry is scrawled in hasty handwriting. Cargo anomaly 0143 HRS. Smoke detector alert hold 3. Lithium shipment. In the real investigation, lithium batteries were a prime theory. Thousands of them, shipped as freight. Batteries that could overheat, ignite, pump the fuselage full of toxic fumes. But the investigation never confirmed it. No wreckage, no evidence, just speculation. Here someone knew. The pilots knew. They noted it. Then what? Did they try to land? Did they climb to thin the smoke? Did they radio for help before the air went bad and their brains started dying? The co-pilot stirs. His eyes flutter open, glassy, unfocused. He looks at you, through you. His lips move. You lean closer. "Man in the hold," he whispers. There is a man in the hold. Then his eyes roll back. His body goes rigid. Convulsions intensify. You look at the emergency oxygen masks. They dangle from their compartments. Unused. The pilots never put them on. Why? Did the decompression happen too fast? Were they already hypoxic when the alarm sounded? Or did something else prevent them? Fear, confusion, sabotage. The radio. You grab the headset, key the transmit button. "Mayday, Mayday. Malaysia Airlines Flight 370. We are declaring an emergency. Crew incapacitated. Passenger attempting to fly aircraft. Request immediate assistance." Static. You wait. Try again. "Any station. This is MH370. Acknowledge. The response is your own voice. Delayed. Distorted. "We are declaring an emergency. Crew incapacitated." Like the systems are looping. Echoing. Feeding your transmission back to you through some twisted circuit. The Inmarsat satellite should be picking this up. The same satellites that tracked the real MH370 for 7 hours. Pinging. Recording. Proving the plane flew on long after it vanished from radar. But those pings were automatic. Data handshakes, not voice, not calls. Just cold confirmation that something was still airborne, still moving, still alone. The co-pilot lunges. His hands grab your arm, strength born of dying nerves. You wrestle him back, pin his shoulders. His teeth are chattering. Foam bubbles from his mouth. Is this hypoxia or something else? Something introduced. Poison. The thought is absurd. But in this cockpit, with this man clawing at you, with his final words echoing in your head, absurdity feels inevitable. The cockpit door opens behind you. The flight attendant. She is awake again, barely. Her eyes are bloodshot, accusing. "You have oxygen," she says. Her voice is thick, slurred. "You are keeping it for yourself. You want us to die so you can have it all." The altitude alarm sounds 19,000 feet. The dive has resumed. Your distraction, your struggle with the co-pilot. The yoke is unattended. The plane is falling again. You need to stabilize, but the co-pilot is still convulsing. The attendant is accusing you, and you have one oxygen mask, one functioning brain, one chance. What would you do? Attempt to revive the co-pilot? Use the oxygen on him? Hope his training returns? Hope he can help you land this plane before the fuel runs out? Or secure the cockpit? Lock the attendant out? Fly alone because trusting anyone else has only brought you closer to death? You make your choice. You shove the co-pilot into the observer seat behind the first officer station. Buckle him in. He is still twitching, still murmuring, but contained. You return to the controls. Pull back on the yoke. The plane levels 20,000 feet, lower than before, thinner air, enough to wake people in the cabin, enough to bring them back from the edge, but not all the way. Not to clarity, to something between sleep and waking, to confusion, to euphoria, to panic. The attendant does not wait for your answer. She turns, stumbles back into the cabin. You watch her through the open cockpit door. She moves past the rows, past the smiling man, past the unconscious passengers, toward the rear of the aircraft, toward the cargo hold. Her movements are purposeful now, deliberate, like she knows something, Like she heard the co-pilot's words, like she believes them. There is a man in the hold. You move through the cabin. The passengers are stirring, not waking, not fully. Their eyes flutter, mouths move. Some are smiling, others are crying. The altitude change has brought them back from the edge of hypoxic unconsciousness, but not to clarity, to something in between, to a place where the brain fires without logic, without reason, just sensation and fragments of thought. The lower deck stairs are at the rear, and behind the galley, a narrow passage that crew used to access the cargo compartments. In 2014, Boeing 777s carried massive freight loads, mangosteens, electronics, industrial parts. The real MH370 had all of this. Tons of cargo, some of it flagged, some of it questioned. But nothing ever proved, nothing ever found. The emergency lighting has switched to red. Battery power. The normal white LEDs are dead. The red casts everything in long shadows, makes the galley look like a surgical theater, makes your hands look covered in something other than sweat. You descend. The stairs are steep, metal. Your footsteps echo. At the bottom, the air changes, thicker, warmer. You smell it before you see it. Acrid chemical, smoke. The cargo hold access door is ajar. Smoke seeps through the gap, thin tendrils, gray and oily. You push the door wider. Heat hits you. Not intense, not a roaring blaze, but enough. Enough to raise the temperature 15 degrees. Enough to make you understand. Fire. There is a fire in the hold. In the real investigation, this was a theory. Lithium batteries, overheating, igniting, pumping smoke into the fuselage. Smoke that could incapacitate a crew before they realized what was happening. But it was never confirmed. Just speculation. Just another possibility in a sea of possibilities. Here, it is real. The divergence. The fire is the cause. The smoke depressurized the cabin. Hypoxia followed. The pilots tried to descend, to land. But their brains were already dying. Their decisions already compromised. You pull the fire extinguisher from the wall mount. Step into the hold. The smoke is thicker here. You tie your shirt over your mouth. The pony bottle oxygen is running low. You check the gauge before you left the cockpit. 20 minutes. Maybe less. You cannot waste it on this. Shallow breaths. Short. The hold is divided into compartments. Cargo nets. Pallets. Luggage. You move toward the source. A pallet near the forward bulkhead. Cardboard boxes. Melted plastic. A small flame licking at the edge. You aim the extinguisher. Spray. Foam covers the fire. Smothers it. The flame dies. Relief. Brief. Real. You extinguished it. You stopped the fire. You have control. Then you see the luggage. A black roller bag. Partially open. Papers spilling out. You kneel. Pull one free. Handwritten notes. Dense. Frantic. A manifesto. They will not listen. They will not see. I have to make them see. The cargo, the route, the lie. It goes on. Pages of it, accusations, paranoia. A passenger's descent into obsession or a saboteur's blueprint. In the real MH370 investigation, theories of passenger involvement circulated. Hijackers, saboteurs, someone with a motive, someone with a plan. But nothing ever fit. No evidence, no proof, just shadows. Here you have proof, or something like it. But whose luggage? Whose handwriting? You look at the tag, smudged, unreadable. I saw him. You spin, the flight attendant. She is standing in the doorway. Her face is pale, eyes glassy, but focused, more focused than before. I saw him before we took off. A man in the hold tampering with something. I thought he was crew, loading cargo, but he was not wearing a vest. No identification. I should have reported it, but I was tired. I was not sure. And then we were wheels up and I forgot. Her voice cracks, guilt or fear, or both. Who was he? You ask. I do not know. I did not see his face, just his back, his hands, moving fast, like he was hiding something. A reversal, not just a fire, not just an accident. Deliberate. Someone set this, someone wanted this to happen. But who and why? The temperature in the hold is still rising. You check the bulkhead. Hot to the touch. The fire is not out. Not completely. It is smoldering deeper, in the insulation, in the wiring, places the extinguisher cannot reach. You climb back to the cabin. The passengers are murmuring, not individually, not random words, in unison, a low hum, synchronized. Their hypoxic brains are sinking. Documented phenomenon. Group delusions in oxygen-starved environments, crowds that share hallucinations, chant together, move as one. They are not awake. They are not themselves. They are something else, something collective, something that does not see you as a person, just an obstacle or a target. The pony bottle filter is clogged. Smoke particles. You cough. Hard. Your lungs burn. You ration the oxygen. One breath every 30 seconds. Not enough, but all you can afford. The moral choice stares at you. Seal the hold. Vent the smoke outside. Save the cabin. But if anyone is trapped in the hold, if the attendant is wrong, if there is someone else besides the saboteur, you would be sealing their fate, dooming them to suffocation, to burning. What would you do? Search the hold for survivors. Risk the smoke and the heat and the time you do not have. Or seal it. Prioritize the cabin, the passengers who are still alive, the plane that is still flying. You move toward the hold access. Your hand on the seal lever, the attendant watches you. Her eyes are wide, waiting for your choice. Then, the radio crackles. A voice, clear, crisp, professional. Malaysia Airlines Flight 370. This is Subang Air Traffic Control. We have you on radar. Maintain current heading. Descend to 15,000 feet. We are vectoring rescue assets to your position. Relief floods through you. Rescue. They found you. They are guiding you in. But something is wrong. The voice, you recognize it. Not from air traffic control, from the cabin, from the rows of seats. A passenger, awake, coherent, impersonating rescue, luring you into a trap. You drop the radio handset. The voice is still speaking, giving you instructions, altitude, heading, reassurances, all lies, all manufactured. You move through the cabin, past the murmuring passengers. Their synchronized hum is louder now, a chant, no words, just sound, rising and falling, like breathing, like prayer. Business class, row 4. A man is sitting with the handset from the seatback emergency communications panel. His eyes are wide, lucid, too lucid. He sees you and smiles. I am helping, he says. I am guiding us home. You recognize him. Checked the manifest in the cockpit. An engineer, telecommunications, based in Kuala Lumpur, 42 years old, married, 2 children. Normal, except nothing about him is normal now. You need to put that away, you say. Your voice is steady, calmer than you feel. No, he says. No, I need to reprogram the sky. They got it wrong. The coordinates, the frequencies, everything. I can fix it. I can make us land where we need to land. The oxygen deprivation has broken him, not into unconsciousness, into something worse. A delusion so complete it has become his reality, and he is coherent enough to act on it, coherent enough to deceive. In the real investigation, theories of crew incapacitation included hypoxia-induced irrational behavior, pilots making nonsensical decisions, flying the wrong direction, ignoring protocol. But always speculation, never proof. Here, you are watching it happen. In real time, a mind unraveling, a person transforming into a threat. You reach for the handset. He pulls back, fast. His hand closes around a metal amenity kit, the kind Malaysia Airlines provided in 2014. Compact, sharp-edged. He swings it at you. You dodge, it connects with the seat. Dents the leather. I am helping, he repeats. Louder now. Why are you stopping me? Behind you, the passengers are moving. Standing. Not all of them, but enough. 6, 7. Their faces are blank. Eyes glassy, but their bodies are coordinated. They form a line, blocking the aisle, blocking your path back to the cockpit. They are smiling. All of them. The same smile. Not joy, not recognition. Just an automatic response. A reflex triggered by brains starved of oxygen, of logic, of self. The flight attendant is beside you. She grabs your arm. We need to get out of here. There is nowhere to go, you say. She pulls you toward the galley. A semi-coherent passenger follows. A woman, older Chinese national. She is clutching an oxygen mask. The elastic band is frayed, torn. She holds it out to you. Look, she says. Look at this. You take it. Examine it. The valve is damaged. Not from wear, from tampering. Someone cut it. Deliberately. Sabotage. The real MH370 investigation speculated about oxygen system failures. Masks that did not deploy. Bottles that were empty, but nothing was ever confirmed. Nothing was ever found. The plane was never found. Here you have confirmation, evidence, but it does not matter. Not anymore. The damage is done. The hypoxia has spread. The passengers are waking, but not into clarity, into collective madness. The altitude alarm screams, a piercing wail. The plane is dropping. Not fast, not a dive, but steady. Losing height, the autopilot is compensating, trying to maintain level flight. But something is wrong. Fuel pressure. Engine temperature systems failing. One by one, you look at the attendant, at the woman with the mask. We can survive this, you say. We stay together. We get back to the cockpit. We stabilize the descent. Relief, brief. The attendant nods. The woman nods. You have allies. You are not alone. You can do this. Then the engineer lunges. He crashes into you. The amenity kit still in his hand. The edge slashes your forearm. Blood, not deep, but enough. Pain, bright and sharp. You shove him back. He stumbles, falls, but the other passengers do not move. They just stand, watching, smiling. You have to restrain him. You have to stop him before he hurts someone else. Before he destroys something critical, you pin him to the floor. The attendant helps. The woman helps. He thrashes, screams. You are killing us. You are stopping the reprogramming. We will never land. We will never be found. His words echo, not just his voice. The other passengers, they repeat it, word for word, synchronized, like they share one brain, one thought, an impersonal force, not supernatural, just human pathology magnified, spread through oxygen starvation, through fear, through the desperate need to believe someone has control. The moral weight crushes you. You could seal their oxygen supply, vent it, force them back into unconsciousness, save yourself, save the few who are still rational, but that would mean condemning them, suffocating them, killing them, and you would have to live with that if you survive. If the plane survives, what would you do? Fight through the blockade? Risk injury? Risk spreading the violence? Or deny them oxygen? Become the thing you fear most? The person who decides who lives and who dies based on utility, based on threat, based on nothing but survival instincts stripped of humanity. You make the choice. You cannot say it aloud. You just act. You drag the engineer to a galley storage compartment. Lock him inside. He pounds on the door. The woman finds zip ties, flight restraints for unruly passengers. You secure the blockade passengers. One by one, they do not resist. They just smile and chant and stare. The cockpit is clear. You run. The attendant follows. The woman follows. You seal the door behind you. Check the instruments. Fuel is critical. Engines are overheating. Altitude is dropping. 12,000 feet. 10,000, 8,000. The Indian Ocean is beneath you. the real MH370's final resting place. Somewhere in the southern arc, searched by ships from Australia, China, Malaysia, the United States. Millions of dollars. Years of effort. Nothing found. Just debris. A flaperon. Fragments, echoes of a plane that vanished. You are about to join it. Then the left engine sputters, coughs, dies. The plane lurches. The right engine strains. Compensating. Failing. The controls go slack. No hydraulic pressure, no thrust, just momentum and gravity, and the ocean rushing toward you faster than you can process. The final descent has begun. The altimeter is spinning backward. 6,000 feet. 4,000. The ocean fills the windscreen. Black glass reflecting stars. The horizon is gone. There is only water. Rising to meet you. You grab the yoke, pull. Nothing. The hydraulics are dead. The plane is a 200-ton glider falling at terminal velocity. The angle is too steep. The speed is too high. This is how Malaysia Airlines Flight 370 ended, in the southern Indian Ocean. A nosedive, a high-speed impact. Fragments scattered across miles of seabed. The black box data, what little was ever theorized, suggested exactly this. A final catastrophic descent. No recovery, no survivors. But you are still here, still conscious, still trying. You switch to manual trim, the backup system, mechanical cables. No power assist, just leverage. You crank the wheel. Your arms scream. The nose begins to shift. Degree by degree, the alarm is deafening. Pull, stall warning, airspeed critical. Altitude critical, everything critical. 2,000 feet. The waves are visible now. White crests, rolling swells. You pull harder. The yoke resists. The trim responds. The nose lifts. Not enough, not fast enough. Behind you, the cockpit door rattles, fists pounding. The awakened passengers. They followed you. They want in. They want control. The flight attendant is bracing the door, shouting at you to focus, to ignore them, to save the plane. 1,000 feet. 500. The aircraft levels, not horizontal, but close. Close enough. The belly skims the surface. Spray explodes against the fuselage. The impact jars your teeth, rattles every rivet. But you are not submerged. Not yet. You are flying, barely, inches above the water. Relief, brief, fragile. You did it. You pulled out of the dive. Then you see the debris, washing out of the cargo hold. Luggage, cargo netting, containers, floating in your wake. The fire did more than spread. It burned through the structure, compromised the integrity of the hold. Sabotage. Not just the oxygen, not just the engineer, something larger. Coordinated. You think back to his ranting, reprogramming the sky, fixing the coordinates, and another phrase, one you dismissed as delirium. He wanted us to disappear. Not random, not hypoxic babble. A clue. He was talking about someone. A crew member. A pilot. Real theories about MH370 included suicide, a deliberate act, a pilot disabling systems, flying the plane into oblivion, taking everyone with him. No motive ever confirmed, no evidence ever found, just speculation. Whispers. Here you have confirmation. The engineer knew. He was complicit, or coerced, or broken by what he discovered. And now he is locked in a galley compartment. And you are alone in the cockpit with a plane that should not be flying. That cannot keep flying. The pounding stops. The door goes silent. You glance back. The attendant is slumped against it. Blood on her uniform. Not hers. Theirs. She fought them. Held them off. Long enough for you to level the plane. Long enough for you to survive. She looks at you, nods, then collapses. You do not have time to help her. You do not have time for anything except flying. You reach for the radio. Flip the emergency frequency. Broadcast, Mayday. Mayday, Malaysia Airlines Flight 370. Position unknown. Engines failed. Ditching imminent. You repeat it over and over. Static, then a voice. Faint, distant. A ship. Merchant vessel. They heard you. They are triangulating. They are coming. Hope. Real hope. You are not lost. Not invisible. Someone knows you are here. The fuel gauge hits 0. Both tanks empty. The right engine coughs, sputters. Dies. The plane slows. Drops. The nose dips. You are out of options. Out of altitude. Out of time. You glance at the cabin. The passengers are stirring. Some are waking. Groggy. Confused. Others are still unconscious. Strapped in their seats. Oblivious. You could wake them. Warn them. Prepare them. Or you could focus on the ditching, on surviving, on ensuring the impact does not kill everyone instantly. What would you do? Spend the final seconds trying to save people who may be too far gone to save? Or prioritize the mechanics of survival? The angle, the speed, the procedure. It is not heroism. It is mathematics. Cold, brutal, necessary. You choose the plane. You choose the ditching. You tighten your harness. Brace. Call out to the attendant. She does not respond. You are alone. The nose drops. The tail rises. The angle is shallow. Textbook. The kind of water landing that might work. That has worked. In simulations. In training scenarios. Never in reality. Not like this. Not with a crippled aircraft. Not in the dark. Not in the middle of the Indian Ocean. The fuselage strikes. The sound is catastrophic. Metal tearing, water flooding. The deceleration slams you forward. The harness cuts into your chest. Your vision blurs. Blacks out. Returns. The cockpit is filling. Cold. Fast. You release the harness. Kick open the emergency exit. The window, not the door. The door is jammed. Blocked. The window is your only escape. You pull yourself through. Into the night. Into the water. The plane is sinking, slow, inevitable. The tail is already submerged. The wings are breaking apart. Passengers are screaming. Some are climbing out, others are trapped. You swim, away, toward the life raft that deployed automatically. You grab it, haul yourself inside. Turn back. The plane is gone. Just bubbles, debris, bodies. You scan the water. Looking for survivors, for the attendant, for anyone. You see shapes, moving, not swimming, drifting, lifeless. And then one shape moves differently, purposeful, toward you, fast to squint. The shape is closer, larger, not a person, not debris, something else. And it is coming straight for you. The shape is debris, just debris. A cargo container. Bobbing toward you on the current, your mind invented the threat, exhaustion, hypoxia, terror. The brain fills gaps with monsters when there are none. You laugh, the sound is hollow, broken. You are alone in the Indian Ocean. March 8th, 2014. Dawn is breaking. The water is calm. Then you hear it, rotors, distant, growing louder. You fire the signal flare from your life vest. Orange smoke blooms against the pink sky. The helicopter banks toward you, Royal Australian Air Force, part of the multinational search effort that will cost millions. That in the real timeline found nothing. No wreckage, no bodies, no answers. But here they found you. They pull you from the water, wrap you in thermal blankets, ask questions you cannot answer coherently. You try to explain. The decompression, the fire, the passengers, the engineer, the sabotage. They nod. Write notes. You see doubt in their eyes, hypoxic delusion, trauma. Survivors' guilt manifesting as conspiracy, but the autopsies will confirm it. The fire damage, the pathology in the crew, the evidence of deliberate acts or accidents that cascaded into catastrophe. The ambiguity will never fully resolve. Was it sabotage? Suicide? Mechanical failure exploited by panic? You will never know. Neither will the investigators. You survived because you stayed awake. Because you are a diver. Because you made choices in the dark that kept you breathing when everyone else surrendered to sleep. But the cost is this. The memory, fragmented, unreliable, haunting. You will wake at night hearing alarms, feeling the yoke in your hands, seeing faces you could not save. The true terror was not the fire, not the decompression, not even the sabotage. It was the indifference. The sky does not care. The ocean does not care. The aircraft systems do not care. You were alone in a machine hurtling through the void, and when it fell, you fell with it. That is the horror of MH370. The impersonal abyss, the solitary awareness. What if you were the only one awake? What if you had to decide who lived and who did not? What if the nightmare was not the crash, but surviving it? If this story chilled you to the core, hit that like button. Subscribe to Concrete Fear for more historically twisted horrors that ask what if. Share this with anyone who loves aviation mysteries. And comment below, what would you have done at the cockpit door? Would you have fought for control, or would you have let the plane take you? Stay vigilant. History, as shadows are always watching.